I'm Celia Hughes, the Executive Director of ArtSpark Texas, and I am delighted to talk a little bit about someone who has a great influence in my life, although she might not even know it, and that's Michal Anne Lord.
My name is Steve Hammond, and it's really a great privilege and pleasure to be here today to talk a little bit about Michal Anne Lord and the tremendous impact that she had in my career, and also literally the lives of thousands of students with disabilities and their families.
Hi, my name is Kippa Smith. I am the Inclusion Unit Supervisor for Austin Parks and Rec. I have been lucky enough to know Michal Anne for many, many years in several different capacities. I first knew her when I started out in the community recreation field back in the late 70s. We always heard about the great programs going on at Austin Parks and Rec. It was like this gold standard. So I've known her from afar by reputation as a professor, and I have worked for her at TRAPS. And most importantly to me, and most precious to me, is I count her as a dear friend.
I know the journey that we've all been on in terms of delivery of service to students with unique learning needs. And Michal Anne is a pioneer in that regard, and really did things to open doors in the city of Austin. I had the privilege for quite a few years of serving on the Adaptive Programs Board, and certainly crossed paths with Michal Anne in various roles that she had as I watched her strongly advocate and be an ambassador for students with learning differences.
I first encountered stories about Austin Parks and Rec when I began working here in the 90s. And you always heard about how Michal Anne had spearheaded getting adaptive programming going, first starting in the playgrounds, as I recall, and pushing very hard to create more and more programming and to create a space, which in the 80s became Macbeth Recreation Center. And it was one of the first adaptive recreation centers, certainly in this part of the country.
Years ago, in 1978 or before, Michal Anne brought to Texas what was then very special arts. And she managed to talk parks and recreation departments all across the state into holding these festivals. And the festivals were one day, maybe they went longer than that. And they invited students with disabilities from their districts, from their school districts, to come and enjoy a day of art. And so it was art making and performance and different things. And that's how Very Special Arts came to Texas, was really as a result of the work that Michal Anne did.
First Art in the Park I remember was in the 90s. And this was when it was still at Macbeth. And it was organized chaos. It was so much fun. There were participants running around everywhere, going from booth to booth, creating all kinds of fun things. And I remember we were at a booth that we had some painting, which was not a brilliant idea. And the participants were getting paint all over themselves, of course, and on their hands. And I remember there's a group of kind of dignitaries walking up to check things out and see what was going on. A couple of the gentlemen were in suits and ties, and I remember seeing them walking that way and thinking, boy, that's a mistake. And sure enough, they turned around and ran the other way pretty quickly when people wanted to greet them with those hands full of paint.
I can remember, those first Art in the Park experiences, the ways that she opened the door in the Parks and Recreation Department to create programs that were customized and designed to allow our kids to be a part of community. And so, I guess my fondest memories of her was just, her laughter, her energy level was incredible. If she was part of an activity or an event, she was going to be out there hands-on, interacting with the kids, meeting families, talking with teachers, and really opening doors.
I'm delighted to say that since 1978, we've made great progress in including and encouraging people with all kinds of abilities to get out there and sing and dance and have a great time. And it wouldn't have been possible, I don't think, if it hadn't been for the vision and the tenacity and the commitment of Michal Anne Lord.
Art in the Park has been an amazing program over the years. I know it's changed to what it is today is just such an incredible experience with still using the parks. We've way outgrown being able to do it at Macbeth. It's so many people. You see the school buses lining up, unloading everybody. The kids are so excited. The teachers are having fun. Everybody's having a good time.
So this year, for our Art in the Park here in Austin, which has been going on now for it started in 1978, it had a little hiatus, but we've been running it for 20 years. We've decided to dedicate this year's festival to Michal Anne for her work in making the world a much more inclusive place.
I just can't say enough about the impact she had on my career, and I was able to go on to kind of resurrect after her very special arts, and our school, Rosedale, became kind of the lead on that, and it wouldn't have been possible without the modeling and the great example of Michal Anne. So today, I'm just happy to have the opportunity all these years later to remember and celebrate Michal Anne Lord. Great job, Michal Anne.
I personally thank Michal Anne for not only what Austin Parks and Rec has become in terms of both our adaptive and inclusive programming. I truly believe without her vision, her leadership, her passion, and her tenacity to get this done, we would not have the programs we have today, and we would not be one of the most premier adaptive community recreation programs, I think, in the country, certainly in Texas. So I'm proud to count her as a friend. I'm grateful for what she has done for our community and the people we serve, and for me personally, giving me an opportunity for a career that brings me great joy, and I hope great joy to the people we serve in our community.
So thank you, Michal Anne, and enjoy your day.
Hi, I'm Michal Lord, and I'm currently the Executive Director of the Texas Recreation and Park Society. But in my early years of my career, I helped to bring the very special arts program to Texas, which is now known as Art Spark Texas. The first real recollection is somewhere around the late 70s. We did some training through TRAPS, the Texas Recreation and Park Society, at regional workshops and at state conferences and the like. And then somewhere in that late time of the 70s, we held our very first festival in Austin. Being a Parks and Recreation Department employee, we just, sort of gathered up the troops from the department wide and all of our contacts with individuals with special needs and their families and friends, and had our first festival. In I guess it was about around 85, the Texas Recreation and Park Society Board of Directors endorsed the Very Special Arts Texas program and supported it. And we grew to about 6 or 8 sites throughout the state. Macbeth and the Art Sparks Texas, their relationship is great because we've had festivals there. I happened to be a part of staff when we opened up Macbeth. And so to see that continue, as I mentioned earlier, is refreshing. To know that they've outgrown those places to go to other places and expansions is fantastic. Growth is powerful. And part of that is by experiencing and people giving you the opportunity. Along that way, we had the great opportunity to meet a lot of people and include a lot of folks. We had outgrew parks, went to the City Coliseum in Austin to have our festivals, bringing in all kinds of schools, special ed classes, other rec centers. We began to see a few folks from the Central Texas region. Now I understand there's lots coming from the Central Texas region to the Art Sparks, Texas, which just sort of makes your heart feel warm to know that it still continues. That if you think, I was talking to someone earlier today, that was over 40 years ago that we first started dabbling with Very Special Arts Texas as we grew the adaptive program section of Austin Parks and Rec, and to see it still going on, still a collaboration between Art Sparks Texas and the Austin Parks and Recreation Department, particularly their inclusion unit, really says that we must have struck upon something. Arts are powerful. You know, adaptive programs and sports and the arts are critical to all of us. It's that play, that engagement in activities, both individually and collectively with other people, is powerful in terms of self-development, social interaction skills, appreciation of the arts, and just exploring the possibilities rather than, and the capabilities rather than no, you can't. And I think that's one of the reasons why Very Special Arts had that staying power. We were able to celebrate the can-dos, the capabilities. I'm willing to try. And that's what is the power of this program and what has been able to be continued through the Art Sparks Texas, which makes me pretty proud to know that I was a little bit a part of that. So that kind of brings us, I think, to what would I tell you today in 2021? When hopefully 2020 is well enough behind us, we're moving forward. We are coming to you, as I understand it, virtually this year, because we're still trying to wrap up that COVID-19 situation. But you know, art can withstand many a challenge and has throughout the years of history. And so I would sort of encourage you to go forward, to enjoy and celebrate your particular art experience, whether that's seeing a play production for the first time at a community theater or at a high school or a professional company coming in, whether that's taking your love for working with various art mediums, clay, ceramics, pastels, whatever, and expressing your love for the arts, whether that's for you to create a band, learn a new instrument, or put together your own washboard and wash tub band. It doesn't matter. The arts are yours and it's unique to you. We need to celebrate that uniqueness, but celebrate it along with one another. My understanding is you will have the opportunity to have a number of kind of online activities and experiences as you take part in this virtual festival. Enjoy them, share them, think about creating your own, and continue your engagement in the arts, because through the arts, we all grow and celebrate creativity and innovation, both of which are very powerful tools in our life. And I'm just grateful that I was a part of this and am honored to be a part of the 2021 virtual festival. Thank you very much.